Alright everyone, it's time for another channel shout out, and this time it is Ryan Dawson. Actually, I'd been planning to do this for a while, though I was kind of busy though. Disclaimer here, I don't agree with him on many things, but here's an important thing. And a lot of people, especially on the left, who are opportunistic and they just want to attack me, they'll probably about this, they'll whine about it. What I am saying is that I don't believe in censoring anyone who is conforming to US law. I disagree with the fundamental premise of many of YouTube's new TOS, and despite the fact that if I look at the videos that he says have been removed and caused strikes on his channel, like he can't post till October, I guess, despite the fact that in some cases, under YouTube's TOS, it would be sensible to say that they run afoul of them, and that's not always the case, by the way. In some cases, it's a little bit of a gray area, and it's like, well, YouTube developed limited state. They obviously are attempting not to even bother using it in some cases if they dislike the person, I think, which is kind of freaky. Differential enforcement's become a huge problem with TOS, not just on YouTube, but on other sites. By the way, link in the description to his BitChute channel. I should probably point that out. There's also one to mine. I've overtaken BPS, and now we need to march on the liberalist hill of Sargon and retake first place on the platform. Here's the thing, though. I'm capable of disagreeing with someone and still thinking that they should be able to speak. And when I see someone being, repeatedly harassed, which is basically what flagging raids boil down to, like Ryan Dawson, when I see them, getting fucked, essentially, yes, I'm going to defend them when I feel that they're being mistreated in some way. I think he is. I don't really care if he's got out there beliefs that I don't agree with. Look, there are people who I don't just agree with. And Dawson, I disagree with some of his views. I don't have a problem with him as a person. I think he's, I think he's being honest about his views and he should be able to speak. There are people that are so far beyond that. There are people that I don't like on the platform. Like, in a personal sense, I dislike them. I don't want them silenced either. I never lifted a finger to cause anyone to be censored, nor would I ever do so. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have, I guess, the emotional and mental maturity necessary to get to the point where they realize that censorship is invariably bad, has never been used for positive goals once in mankind's history. It's always been misused. It's always led by a bunch of fucking miscreants, opportunistic assholes, essentially, who manipulate others. Propagandists, in essence, either grassroots or top-down. Ryan Dawson does political content, social commentary, again, not from perspectives I always agree with. But, I mean, at some point we've got to put our foot down and start defending people that are offensive or edgy. Specifically, that's the whole goal of free speech. I'm not talking about the First Amendment. The whole goal of the philosophical content of free speech. The whole goal of that was to defend edgy, offensive, taboo speech. Same, the idea of being able to petition the government for grievances. It's not, hey, the government's taxing me 0.5% too much. No, the idea was that you should be able to stand there and harangue about significant policies. Free speech isn't there to protect your right to say, hi, good morning. Oh, what's your favorite color? Well, my favorite color is blue. Those are innocuous things. They don't need protection. It's not illegal to say that in any sane country. Go to North Korea, maybe there's a problem. Turkmenistan or something. Or increasingly, maybe Russia. But no, it's there to protect cults, like religious sub-movements, and politically edgy people and fanatics. Literally, the First Amendment is there to protect fanatics after a fashion. Anyone who's outside of the norm. Ryan Dawson's views don't speak to a conception of reality that's mainstream. He should be able to speak. And I'd rather him speak on YouTube than he get kicked off of the entire visible net and end up just on like Gab and BitChute and stuff. No, I don't think that that's proper. I think that steps out of line with the tradition of Western civilization. I think, and the idea, some people are like, well, but Nazis don't believe in Western civilization's liberal values. So in other words, you abandon the value to defend the value? Or I'm not exactly sure what these people are getting at. Never do these people say that we should ban Che Guevara shirt-wearing Starbucks Marxists. They explicitly come out against the concept of speaking freely. They hate it because they know that they lose every fucking debate because they're morons. Meanwhile, people on the so-called Nazi side of the alt-right and stuff, they're like marching against book burning and stuff like that. They're like, no, we don't think that we should burn books. No, we don't think there should be censorship. Now, I'm not naive enough to believe that inside there's not an authoritarian waiting to come forth if the right wing comes into power. By the way, this negates the concept of like the MAGA populism having anything to do with the far right, because then they wouldn't be socially alienated and there wouldn't be problems if that were actually the case. Keep that in mind. But I mean, I don't want to silence anyone. If you step back off of the liberal value of free speech long enough to wag your finger at someone and say, well, you kind of deserve it because you're far right. You kind of deserve it because, you know, Vox says you're a Nazi or something. Well, then you don't believe in free speech. You explicitly don't believe in the First Amendment. It doesn't matter whether it's the government abusing free speech or a corporation or a group of people beating someone over the head because they perceive them as being out there, an ethnonad or something like that. It doesn't matter. They're still being silenced. Still political violence as well. What's the difference, other than some topical contusions, between people beating you down in your driveway for having the wrong opinion and you getting deplatformed and causing you silence? Well, in the latter case, it's much more effective. If a Silicon Valley company decides, it's like Soph. Soph just got deplatformed off Patreon, which is something I warned about literally like, a fucking month ago? Get a subscribe star, kid. Literally. You know, you have this, you get banned off YouTube, and then Patreon drops it, and it'll probably go further. Twitter will probably act. You know, you should get a Gab. I think she's got one. Dawson's in the same boat. Basically, anyone who has anything unique to say is labeled a conspiracy theorist, hateful, or an enabler. Like, I'm labeled an enabler of hate. Why? I don't fucking know. I guess it's because I talk to the wrong people. I've got the wrong friends. It's sort of like the nanny state fucking mentality. This is what I hate about the modern so-called left. They're not acting like, they're not hippies or anything like that. They're just a bunch of authoritarian pigs is what they are, a bunch of sellouts. Here's what I really hate. They sort of treat people like me. They can't label me a Nazi because any sane person looking at my content's like, well, he's a libertarian. So what they'll do is they'll say, well, you're hanging out with the wrong people. They get very patronizing about it sometimes. Like, they feign, like, care. They feign as though they are worried about me being radicalized. Some stupid shit like that. Some fucking bullshit. Oh, we'll choose for you who you're allowed to associate with, Sticks, because otherwise, you know, you might run afoul of something. Fuck you. It's not going to happen. I'll talk to Ryan Dawson, Ramsey Paul, and anyone else I fucking want. Yeah, I'll talk to Varg. I don't give a shit. Varg's got a nice garden. He's a pagan. He has a nice family. I don't give a shit if he has opinions I disagree with. He's an apologist for communism half the time. I don't give a fuck. I don't want him deplatformed. Should still be on YouTube. Maybe he's got a new channel and just keeps it hush-hush. I'm not going to talk about that because I don't want to get the dude fucking raided. I know that people like Holt follow my shit too. That's why I try to keep a little bit on the down low, I guess, sometimes I'm dealing with other people. It's fucking bullshit. It's fucking horse shit. That's really what it boils down to. So yeah, you should join Ryan Dawson on BitChute. I know there's a little bit of a long, bitter rant there about censorship, but, you know, case in point, he's getting strikes on material. He's got it elsewhere. It's like, I've never heard of anyone becoming radicalized by Ryan Dawson and going off and doing crazy shit. It's like this miscreant from El Paso blames the internet for his problems. Oh, it's not Trump's fault, but yeah, I'm on the internet, I use 4chan and stuff. Fuck you. Who gives a shit? So you're a moron. You're a psycho. You got problems, and so it's somebody else's problem. It's never your fucking fault. People need to take fucking responsibility for their fucking actions. That's about all. Peace out.